From the documentary film The Librarians, I'd like to welcome high school librarian Julie Miller, joined by award-winning filmmaker and Oscar-nominated director Kim Snyder, to Sidewalks Entertainment. Hi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for
Good
having us.
morning.
So, Julie, you're a high school librarian. How many years have you been a librarian, and what do you enjoy most about the work that you do?
Um, so I've been in education for over 20 years now. About half of my time as a classroom teacher and the other half working in libraries. I am no longer a high school librarian because I I was speaking out and kind of pushing back against the book challenges and book banning that was happening in my school district. So I still do work in libraries, but unfortunately, not as a high school librarian, where I had been for 9 years, which was heartbreaking. Um, and that we do talk about that in the film. So, but I have always loved libraries, loved reading, and loved educating children. Mostly, I worked with middle school and high school students.
Kim, award winning filmmaker and Oscar nominated director, when you reflect back on the beginning of your career, what inspired you to get into the work that you do? And what do you remember most about when you first started out as a filmmaker?
Wow. Well, that was a couple of decades ago also. I think really understanding the power of storytelling, nonfiction storytelling, and the ability to reach audiences and mobilize them or give voice, in this case, in this film, to a large body of librarians and educators across the country that are being maligned and attacked, and raising up their voices to stand up for something that we should all be concerned about and fighting against.
Julie, earlier you mentioned that you were fired from your previous job for questioning the book banning. What went through your mind when you were asked to take the banned books off the shelves? And what was it that made you want to speak up?
So I think when it all started with the book challenges, what went through my mind was, "Well, this is ridiculous." I mean, who's actually concerned about books? First of all, everyone wants to see kids and teens read more, right? Um, so now we're going to be pushing back against books when most of them have a phone in their pockets with access to all manner of things out there. Um, so at first, it was almost like scoffing at how silly this was. But it turned a lot more serious as we saw that this was not going away. Um, we hadn't seen a book challenge in my county in, probably 20 years, um, according to what I could find. And so this was really unprecedented for us to see all of these challenges start rolling in. And they were mostly coming from one person. So it all was very kind of insidious, and it seemed very planned. And as you'll see in the film, it's turns out that yes, this was very much planned, very organized, well funded, and a movement that is really not even about books at all. It's about attacks on our freedom of expression, freedom of reading, and freedom of access to information, which is one of the first places that libraries are often the first places that are going to be under attack when we're talking about groups and leaders who want to take away their people's freedoms.
Kim, I could only imagine that creating this film must have been such an extraordinary experience. What was your experience like working on The Librarians?
Honestly, it's been an honor and a privilege to be ingratiated and trusted into this amazing network of librarians and others that I've met. I can't tell you the respect I have for their courage and their integrity in what they're doing, what they've chosen to do when they had, in so many cases, everything to lose or so much to lose. So I've learned, it turns out that, not a surprise, librarians are generally really cool people. A lot of them are women. They're really smart. They're funny. And I've traveled with Julie and others. That's been one of the great gifts of it. But it's also the ability to travel into live theaters and film festivals, and now on national television by way of this PBS broadcast, to really mobilize people. Hopefully there'll be outrage and there will be action, and people will be motivated to do two things: to be inspired by people like Julie and the others you'll see in the film, to not cower in fear and to stand up for what's right, across the board. I mean, it doesn't just have to be out the books. I feel like we're living in a time where young people have very few examples of adults acting with principle and integrity. Our film is chock full of that. And also to get involved locally in whatever way you feel, but namely through school boards, the importance of school boards. Vote in them. They are not a partisan playing field there, down ballot. To get involved in understanding your library board, these policies and what affect your parental rights, the parental rights of so many people, to preserve the freedom of our kids to not be dictated by a minority of voices that are well orchestrated and organized about something much different and bigger. To really be aware of that, and that you can have agency in your own local constituencies.
So, Julie, what was it like to hear from others in this film, some that might have been in a similar situation as yours? What was it like to hear them share their own thoughts and experiences with the book banning?
Well, it was heartbreaking to see. Like, I'd read about it and I'd heard about a lot of the things happening to other librarians, but something about film makes it more real, I think. That's one of the powers of cinema, is just how it just kind of really just puts a face and a presence to a story you may have read somewhere. Um, and so it was heartbreaking to see what the others were facing. Some of them facing far worse than what I did. Um, but it was also inspiring and empowering, because I got to see that I wasn't alone. That even though I felt very alone in my community, that there were others just like me out there who were doing the same thing. Um, and I think that people want to paint us as like these, radical gaslighters is one of the terms that is lobbed against um, one of us in the film. And I think that people don't realize, like, we're moms, you know.
Mm.
I'm a Baptist minister's wife. um, I was raised in the Southern Baptist Church as a minister's daughter. We My friend Marie in the film, she is a devout Catholic. um, we're we are just your neighbors. We are not people that are have any agenda toward indoctrinating or harming children. I mean, we got into librarianship to help students, and because we love books and we love reading and literacy. So I think that that's really one thing that's great about the film, is that it helps, like, put faces to these horror stories that you've been hearing, and lets you see that we're just people too.
So, one last question, since we are speaking about books, And this is a little bit related, a little bit not, but I mean, when, and this question is for both of you, when you think of your favorite childhood book, which is the first book that comes to mind?
Oh boy. I guess without thinking too hard, I was a big lover of Harriet the Spy. Uh,
Hmm.
that
Oh my gosh, I remember Harriet the
yeah.
Spy. Oh, I love that.
Oh, I was a voracious reader. But what popped immediately to my mind was the Babysitter's Club series. Babysitter's Club books. I mean, that was an obsession for me and some of my friends, and we would call each other Marianne and Christy and Stacy, and it was just um, we felt just really cool reading those books about babysitters and all of the adventures they would get into.
Oh my goodness, what great memories. The Babysitters Club and Harriet the Spy. Such great choices. Well, sadly, we are out of time, but it was so lovely speaking with both of you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Everyone, be sure to watch The Librarians on PBS's Independent Lens and also available on the PBS app. Kim, Julie, you two take care.
You too.